Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Travis and Susie here from the Wolf Hunters, and we got a reaction video for you. We got this link right here in the description box below the video. There's a blue link. If you click it, you pick it. You could pick the song or artist of your choice, the movie scene, the comedy skit, documentary, sitcom. I mean, the list pretty much goes on.
There's lots of the list.
Today's video is brought to you by Will. Bringing us Elvis story. Will says,
hey guys, I've been enjoying your reactions for some time and am a long-time Elvis fan and have really enjoyed seeing you guys appreciating him. This video is a funny story by one of Elvis's backup singers. It's a personal favorite and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. The only thing that appears to have been bigger than his musical gift was his heart. Merry Christmas and God bless. All right.
Thank you. Hope you had great holidays too, Will.
Yes.
Guys, go ahead.
I love hearing these stories.
Yeah.
Go ahead, hit like and subscribe. Get ready to hear more about Elvis.
Guys, let me know your favorite short story in the comment section. And Will, thanks for being a part of the channel. We greatly appreciate you.
Yeah, I know we're talking about love songs, and which are obvious. You know, they're love songs to from a man to a woman, and it's about love and it's about passion. But Elvis took it further than that. I think in his mind, there are a lot of ways to express your love, and Elvis was very, very. He was very. When he loved and he was generous. He was very personal. If you'll notice, if you saw That's the Way It Is, somebody was sick in the group, you know, and he came over to the girls and knelt down with them and asked about them. How's so and so doing, and how's she feeling, and is there anything I can do? He was so generous and so he had such compassion and feelings for his. If it was a friend. If it was, you know, one of the family members, you know how he was with his mother and his dad, how much he loved his mom and his dad. I mean, it was so obvious in everything that he did. But there's something that he did every year that I don't think a lot of people know about, and he never got any publicity on it because he didn't want it.
Speaking of which, before we get on with that, we have seen consistencies in these videos of Elvis
being generous
and blessing people and not wanting like the attention or feeling like the need to like be impressive or hear thank yous or anything.
Care about the credit.
Yeah, credit. That's probably the best way to put it.
But every year he took $100,000 at Christmas time. 100,000 is, you know, a lot of money, but to him it didn't seem like a lot of money, obviously. And he would have like an open house at his house at Graceland. And if you came up and had a good story, I mean, he'd write you a check. You know, I need $1,000 he'd write you a check for $1,000. I mean, it would be 1,000, or 5,000 to 10,000. And he gave to a lot of charities in Memphis, you know, to the Boys Club or to the whatever. And he just wrote out checks, $100,000 every year, and gave the money away. And people knew this, so they'd start lining up, and he'd write them a check. It was just unbelievable. And honestly, nobody knew that. But I mean, don't you think that's love? I mean, this is love for your fellow man. This is love, compassion, and it's a different kind of love. But he felt it, and he had it. And he was so generous with us guys. I mean, you can't believe what the gifts he gave us and how much he would come in and he'd hug your neck and show a side of him that you never knew. I mean, I gave him a Bible one time, and he hugged me, and he pushed his forehead against mine, and he said, this means so much to me. He probably had 100 Bibles, you know? I think that is a part of the love and this love story with Elvis that I think is so important. To prove that you know, how he cared for people, you know, I'm a friend, you know, on the periphery, really. But we were, this thing happened in Las Vegas probably in 1970. We were up in the suite after the second show when we were standing around the piano singing. It was probably 3 o'clock in the morning. And one of the bodyguards comes up to me. Sonny came up and whispered in my ear and said, "Your wife is on the phone." I said, "Well, that's strange. It's 3 o'clock in the morning." And my wife and my family, my children, my 4 children and my wife were back in a motel that we lived in when we were in Las Vegas, which is way off campus from where Elvis lived in the hotel. So anyway, we had a little apartment there, and the kids would go out in the summertime and enjoy Las Vegas in the summer. And so anyway, they were back in the hotel sleeping. But my wife called and said, "You need to come back because our house in Nashville has been broken into." Now, we're in Las Vegas. Our house in Nashville has been broken into. She's panicking. Imagine that they broke all the windows and stole everything. And so I didn't want to make a big scene because Elvis was there with his friends having a good time. And I told one of the guys, I said, "I need to go." So I snuck out the door, and I was standing at the elevator on the 30th floor at the penthouse. And there were 2 security guards there. And I was visiting with them while I was waiting for the elevator. And Elvis comes bursting out of his penthouse apartment there and says, "Moscheo, where are you going?" I said, "I have to go." Elvis, I got a little family problem. What's the matter?" And by then, everybody that was in there is now out in the hallway,
Wow.
And they're surrounding.
Okay.
And I just, I got a little problem. "What is it?" "Well, my house back in Nashville has been broken into, and I'm going to go. My wife is crying and upset, and so I'm going to go see what's wrong." He said, "Well, I'm going with you." He said, "We're going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to take care of it for you." I said, "No, it's okay, really, Elvis. I got it covered." And the guys are panicking, because Elvis now, he's looking for some adventure. And so he starts giving everybody orders. "Get the plane
awesome.
ready. We're going to Nashville, and get my credentials and get my, and everybody get my coat." And so pretty soon everybody's reacting. And before you know it, I go down the elevator, and there's 4 white limousines out there.
He also is
and Elvis and all his
spontaneous like that.
entourage go in these limousines. I'm driving my little car that I had rented, and I'm leading them to this little motel. It was embarrassing. I mean, really. And so and my wife is in this little motel called the Valley High Motel in Las Vegas, if it could be any worse. And my kids are in another room sleeping. I thought they were sleeping. So we go down the alley behind the motel, and I showed them the way to go through like this little passageway. And we come around to our place, and I knock on the door. My wife answers. She's got her hair in rollers, she's got her bathrobe on, and she can't believe that all these people are here. I mean, there's an entourage. There's like 20 people. And so we all pile into this little motel room, living room, cheap furniture.
That's awesome.
And
that's memories right there.
she can't believe, she's crying and very upset. Elvis hugs her, and he says, "Darling, don't worry, I'm here to take care of things." I mean, that's love, that's compassion. And he settles her down, and then he's telling Felton, who lived about a mile from me out there in the country in Franklin, Tennessee. He said, "Call the sheriff out there and find out what happened. Give us a report." So Felton, this was way before cell phones. So he's on the phone, a landline, and he's trying to get the sheriff to find out what happened, give him a report. Meanwhile, the kids hear all this ruckus in this room, and they open the door slightly, and they're like stacked up looking out the door from the bedroom at Elvis, and he sees them. He goes in there with them, and I wish you could have seen him that night. It was unbelievable. He had on this leather coat with fur cuffs and a fur collar, and of course his sunglasses and his big belt and a flashlight about 3 feet long. He had all this, stuff, but it was Elvis, And the kids saw him, they just couldn't believe it. Well, he saw them and went into their bedroom and sat on the bed with these kids. And he started talking to them. And he said, "Look, I know we're here because your house, in Tennessee has been broken into. And he said, I just want to tell you, if they took your bicycles or any of your toys or anything that you loved and you know that was really your favorite, you let me know. Write me a note. Let me know. And he said, I'll replace it better than what you had. I promise you that.
Aww.
And okay. And he said, okay. And yeah, they said, okay. And he patted them or whatever. And they, you know, he just left them in the bedroom. They still talk about it. Now, you know, the kids are in their 40s and 50s, and they're still talking about Elvis coming into their bedroom that night. To me,
actually, it's almost like you're almost like kind of looking back, like, oh, I'm glad that happened, you know, because now I have this experience, you know.
Yeah.
About Elvis coming into their bedroom that night. To me, that's love. I mean, that's the real deal, and that's what love songs are about. It's about touching people, touching hearts, and making an impression, a lasting, lifelong impression on people. That's a love song.
That was awesome. That was a great story. Thanks for sharing that with us.
I love that.
Yes, I've been really enjoying these stories.
I mean, the more and more you hear about it, I mean, Elvis, you know, is human. I'm sure that there's stories of him being imperfect, but when you hear about what he did with the money and the power that he had, you can tell that his heart was in the right place. It's always in the right place. I mean, you hear these stories. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah, right.
He did not have to do that. He also could have given money and still not done that. Like, he could have been like, oh, somebody let me know anything that they need replaced and I'll replace it. And he still would have been being generous. Yeah. But he went the extra mile by showing his face, hugging that woman, sitting with those kids. And like, that really makes him a legend, you know, more than any amount of money that he could have given. And the kids, they would have, I'm sure, taken the new stuff and been like, that's cool. Elvis bought me a bike. But that, like their dad said, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about how he went in and he sat with them. And I think that that's a really huge testament of his character. It's really cool.
Thank you so much for that one. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you want to request your own personal reaction video, find that link in the description box below. It's a blue link. If you click it, you pick it. Songs, artists, music videos, documentaries, skits, stories, all those kinds of things. Feel free to send them our way. Hit like, subscribe, stay tuned, stay positive.
We love you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.